All right. Hello, hello. I hope everybody is doing well. Thanks for your patience over the last week. As you have probably noticed, I'm a little bit behind on grading. Had my second coronavirus vaccine last week, and it kicked my butt for a day or so. I had a whole lot of outside of teaching work tasks going on, so I've been a little slower than usual. Email I'm still responding to within a business day, but the grading has been kind of slow, so I apologize for that and appreciate your patience as I'm getting through everything. So I'm still working through the position papers. As you're probably noticing, as we get further into the semester, the papers take longer to grade because there are more components to pay attention to. They are longer, so it does take a little bit longer, even on a good week, for me to get the materials back to you. So moving forward, we're starting our argumentative research essay project. Now, please keep in mind that you're working with the same topic that you have been working with. So the topic that you put in your proposal journal and then wrote your position paper on, we're going to continue with that topic in throughout the research essay assignment. So for the research essay, you can use some of the sources you used for the position paper if they are substantial scholarly sources. Remember, we want to focus on scholarly peer-reviewed material for this paper. You know, you have had library activities. I know I've worked with a couple of you to help you find sources. If you're having trouble, please get in touch. You can go to our course librarian, Miss O'Connor. You can use the library chat. You can let me know. I'm happy for you to drop into office hours or make an appointment for us to go over that process together. So want to make sure that you have good sources. So I'm going to go through the research essay assignment with you and then talk a bit about note-taking, working with sources, all that. This may be a long video, so if you need to pause and come back later, that's totally fine. Or if you need to come back and rewatch some pieces, that's okay too. So I'm going to share my second screen so that we can look at this essay assignment together. And I know a lot of you have already taken a good look at this, and that's absolutely fine, but I wanted to walk through it one piece at a time to make sure that we are all on the same page. Okay, so I have the note at the top that we have work due every week for this essay. This is not a situation where you can wait until 2 days or the day before the paper is due and sit down and write it. You need to do the preliminary assignments. This is also a good time for me to remind you that when we have preliminary assignments like this, the feedback needs to be used on the next assignments. That's something that some folks have not been doing. I saw problems in topic journals or in the sources and sides assignment that were still present in position papers. So please make sure you're looking at the feedback I give you. I give you feedback on everything I grade. So for this assignment, you're going to be arguing a position and persuading others to agree with you about a topic you've analyzed and for which you offer a well-developed opinion in an essay. So you will be using the kinds of writing we've worked with so far this semester. You'll be analyzing, you'll be evaluating, you'll be describing, you will be reporting information. You will also use outside sources to give your position support and evidence, and this essay is worth 25% of your grade. I'll mention right here that in the next couple weeks, and it actually may already be available, I need to go look, there will be a checklist for your research essay, and it has the rubric and the points for every little thing that I'll be looking at in the essay. So make sure that you use that. So getting started, you've already chosen a topic, you've already started researching it, and the next thing you're going to need to think about is who your audience is and what it is that you want them to do. Do you just want to change their minds about something? Do you want them to take an action? What is it that you want to accomplish with this essay besides getting a good grade? Remember that you have to make a case for your argument that will stand up to opposition. So I encourage you to think about arguing in a courtroom, except they're not going to be able to talk back and have an exchange with you. So you're going to need to make sure you address your opposition. You're going to make sure that you provide plenty of support and evidence. So make sure that you really think this through. I know that everybody has already had I think most everybody, I know a few people didn't get things done for the last paper, has chosen a topic. I caution you against moral and religious arguments and topics that you're really emotionally invested in. And it looks like for the most part, people are heeding that advice. Make sure, of course, to study all sides of the issue. You have already done a good bit of that through the position paper. And remember that you will have to look at sources and ideas that you may not necessarily agree with. So back to research. Now, you need to use at least 5 substantial sources from different publications, different authors, different databases. Avoid most non-academic sources. So this isn't the time to do a general internet search. You can, going back to our previous discussions about preliminary research, you may want to go back to some of those sources and look at who they cited and check that out. But this is a time to be working with scholarly, substantial sources. For opposing viewpoints and CQ researcher, those can be good sources, but they can also be really repetitive. So I encourage you to keep those sources to just 2 of your 5 count. You can use dictionaries and encyclopedias, but they're kind of for a broad overview, so they're not going to count toward your source count. So looking at materials published in academic journals, quality books, those are good. A lot of you have indicated that you want to do interviews. Interviews are good. They are time consuming. You've got to put time into creating good open-ended questions, making sure that you don't, lead the interviewee, making sure that you get all of the information down. So, maybe recording audio or video, transcribing information. It's not as simple as just going and having a conversation and kind of saying what that person said. So I'm going to do a separate video talking about interviews for those of you who want to do it. If you want to do an interview and you've got someone who's an expert in their field to interview, good. But I caution you against just jumping full steam ahead into the interview piece. Also, as you are doing your research, please keep copies of your sources. Whether you have an electronic copy. When I say an electronic copy, I don't mean one hanging out on the web. I mean one where you have the PDF yourself, like maybe you emailed it to yourself or you saved it to your computer, or have print copies. Things can move. Things can suddenly become hard to find again. Make sure you have copies of your sources. Okay, so let's talk about the process. You've already selected your topic, talked about why it's a problem, why it's important. So then you're going to need to explain what you're proposing to solve your problem and why you feel your proposal offers a viable solution. So as with previous assignments, I've given you a lot of questions here to answer. You don't necessarily have to sit down and answer all the questions and make every bit of that appear in your paper. But these are some questions that I ask to get you thinking, similar to what I did with the ad evaluation, where you had questions for the description, questions for the analysis to kind of get your mind turning on the topic. So, general requirements. This is a place to pay very careful attention. All right. First of all, you must research the topic you address in your essay. And you may laugh because it's a research paper, but every semester I have somebody who uses no research in the paper. So I say this several times. You have to do that. You must use MLA format for your essay, citations, works cited page, and annotated bibliography. I will go over some more citation information. That's been a big request from a lot of people, so we'll cover that some more. You must use citations in your essay to cite your quotations and paraphrases. And quotations and paraphrases must be treated properly. You must have a works cited page that includes all of your sources. You must submit an annotated bibliography of your 5 best sources. That's the assignment that you have this week. Your final paper should be 4 to 6 pages in length, and that does not include your works cited page. I will mention that it is incredibly rare for me to get a paper for which someone has included all of the elements that are required that doesn't reach 4 pages. I've had 2 in 12 years not hit the page count, but get all of the required information in. So don't stress yourself out about the length requirement. If you do everything I ask you to, most likely you'll get there. You should have a title that is at least somewhat creative and reflects what your paper is about. Please do not title your paper research paper, okay? The title should be tied to the topic of your essay. Your paper should have a proper introduction, thesis statement, and conclusion, and be written for an educated audience and reflect your knowledge of proper academic writing. This is your show-off moment, okay? Show me that you learned things in the class. Show me what you can do as an academic writer. And I have a note here that if you don't meet this criteria, you get an automatic 0. If you don't cite sources, if you don't format the essay, I can't grade the paper. So please follow the instructions. Please get help when you need it. So the timeline for the pieces that are left. So you've already done a good bit of this work. We did the topic proposal. You've done the position paper. You've done preliminary research. You've already done a third of the work here. So we are moving right on through. So the timeline, first of all, the annotated bibliography this week. I'll pause here and talk about the annotated bibliography a little bit. Please don't make this harder than it is. I know a lot of you are going ahead and getting them in because we have the break coming up, and that's wonderful. And I'm going to start working on those as quickly as I can. The annotated bibliography is simply the works cited entry for each source with a brief 1 to 3 sentence summation of what that source is and how it's going to work in your essay. That is it, okay? You do not have to have any like statement of scope or crazy introduction. Literally just alphabetize those works cited entries, and right after each entry, give me that 1 to 3 sentence blurb. That is it. A lovely piece of the annotated bibliography is you'll already have citations done for your essay. Also, you'll get feedback from me on whether they're correct. So this is an assignment that, you know, while it's a preliminary piece, is going to save you some time later. The next piece will be the sentence outline. The sentence outline is exactly what it sounds like. It will include a working title for your paper. When I say that something is working, it means that it could change, okay? Your sentence outline is not set in stone. You can still make changes. I'm not going to sit down with your outline and go through your paper as I grade it, okay? The sentence outline is for me to make sure you're on track and for you to map out your essay. The sentence outline will include a working title, a working thesis statement, the topic sentences for each main section of your paper, and your supporting details. The sentence outline can be as detailed as you would like for it to be. Have to be hugely detailed, okay? As long as you have the components I've asked for, you'll get a good grade on it. But if you don't do what I've asked, I'm going to tell you to redo it, and you won't get a good grade on it. So please, there's a sample in next week's folder that you can check out, and I'll be posting another video to talk about it some more in detail. The next very important piece, individual draft conferences. So I will meet with each of you individually to go over the draft of your essay. And we'll do that between April 12th and 22nd. I've left a pretty big window in there because there are a lot of you, and I want everybody to meet at a time that's convenient. So you can just email me and let me know when you would like to meet, and I will set up a time. The draft conference is usually pretty quick. Most students and I will get through a draft conference in 10 minutes, 15 minutes sometimes. If you feel like you're going to need a longer amount of time, let me know, and we'll work it out. But most of the time, it's about a 10-minute meeting. So what you'll do, we'll set up our meeting. You'll email me your draft in advance. We'll meet and collaborate. I'll set up a private meeting for us. We'll put your paper on the screen, and we'll go through it together. You can ask me questions. You can tell me a particular area you're concerned about, whatever you need. And so it's a really great opportunity for you to go ahead and get some feedback and make the changes that you need to your essay. Your draft doesn't have to be 100% done when we do this, but the more you have done, the more useful that meeting will be for you. And then the final paper will be due through Turn It In, and the assignment link at the end of the day on Thursday, April 29th. So this is the big one. So I hope that going through the assignment is helpful. If you have questions, absolutely let me know. So that is the research paper assignment and a little rundown of the components that go with it. So that said, I know that this is getting to be a long video, so I'm actually going to stop here and do a separate video for the works cited and in-text citation and source usage information. Before I go, I do want to remind you all, you need to do the readings. I've been looking at the stats on Little Seagull and They Say I Say, and a lot of people are not doing the readings. And I've been paying attention to that because a lot of the questions I've gotten in the last week or two have been covered in the readings or covered in videos or both. Please make sure that you are doing all of the work for the course, not just the stuff that you have to turn in. As this is an online course, you know, there's a bit of reading, there's a bit of stuff to be done on your own. So I hope everybody is having a good week. If I can help you, please let me know, and prepare yourself for the video deluge to come after this. Y'all have a wonderful week.